Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and today we're checking out Mortal Kombat Deception for the Xbox.
Originally released in 2004, surprise, this was developed and published by Midway. What a shot! Anyway, this came out for the PS2, the Xbox, the GameCube, and eventually had its own port on the PlayStation Portable. This game picks up where Deadly Alliance left off, so let's get right to it.
In general, I'm a person who doesn't like to repeat himself. However, you're probably going to hear me say this many times throughout the video, so I might as well get it out of the way. Mortal Kombat Deception improved a lot over Deadly Alliance. And Jim and I love Deadly Alliance. However, the graphics are the first indication that this game just got better. Not only do you have more characters and you have a little more detail per character, but now with the addition of these, I'll call them death traps or stage fatalities, you have so many more animations. You have the harakiris, which we'll get into later. You just have a whole lot more going on per stage. Not to mention, they add in sometimes bonus stage weapons. We really liked it, and it feels like Mortal Kombat finally got their stride with the PS2 and Xbox, and now they knew how to work the system to the best of their abilities. So as you see, I gave it a 9, Jim gave it an 8, we both agree. It's a little better than Deadly Alliance. I'm gonna add one beer just in celebration of really improving an already great series at this point.
As far as sound goes, this game is actually pretty good. Once again, the voice work is perfectly fine, the sound effects are great, but they really stepped up the quality to the music tracks this time. They're a lot more dynamic, they're a lot more layered. I actually really like the tunes a lot here. Also, in certain levels, there's almost these day and night like changes. And when these big changes in the levels happen, there's different music, so that's a great touch. Honestly, not a lot to complain about here. We both gave it 8s, it's a very solid package as far as sound goes. And let's add, hell, one beer in celebration, because we finally have good music again in a Mortal Kombat. Though, to be fair, the voice acting in the Conquest mode, holy crap is that terrible. That probably is the only thing that kept it from getting higher scores. The control. If you played Deadly Alliance, then you know how the control is in this game. It's damn near exactly the same. Which is not a bad thing, because it was fine before. The biggest innovation was the combo breaker that was added in. Yep, we finally caught up to Killer Instinct. I know, I kid, a lot of other games don't have combo breakers either. Anyway, the breaker is actually pretty easy to pull off, which is good, because it just keeps the nice flow of the combat going. We both gave it 8s, same as in Deadly Alliance, another solid package. And let's add one beer for the addition of the combo breaker. Why not?
The gameplay, holy shit. Wow. Where to begin? So, it's everything you've come to expect from Mortal Kombat at this point. You still have at least 2 fatalities per character. You have additional special moves, but you have a few added features. Number 1, I mentioned earlier, the harakiris. I personally don't like them, but I do find them hilarious. For those of you who don't know, if you're about to lose or get a fatality done to you, if you put the input in fast enough, you kill yourself and rob the victor of that sweet fatality. It's a complete dick move, and the biggest reason I have a problem with it, because it's been done to me. So, yeah. But in addition to that, me and Jim, as you've noticed, we love our fatalities and our gore from these games. So, almost every stage has these insta-death stage fatalities, as I like to call them. And you can be in the middle of a match, and if you're just trying to line up your opponent, you knock them in there, and you get to watch them die really fast. It was a really nice feature, and it added actually a lot of stress to games, because now you have that added level of anxiety of you don't want to be knocked out, you don't want to be knocked out. Putting those aside, Mortal Kombat wasn't satisfied with just adding those mechanics to the core gameplay. They also threw in 2 mini-games. The first being chess combat, which was I don't know how else to call it. It's something I didn't play that much, but when I did, it's hilarious. It's just a mini game similar to chess, but you have player-selected characters as the pieces instead, and they have to have combat in order to take a square. It was a nice little feature. Also, they added puzzle combat, which kind of looks like a deformed version of Tetris, and in order to do damage to your opponent, you just have to complete X amount of lines. The crypt makes a return, although there's not quite as much content as in Deadly Alliance. However, one big thing they introduced in the series is the Conquest mode. Now, in Deadly Alliance, the Conquest mode was more or less a glorified tutorial for your characters. In this game, it's its own goddamn mini action RPG game. Now, I know, if you haven't played this game, you're going to be like, what the hell, how can they throw an RPG in here? We're not saying it's perfect or even that good, but holy shit, is there a lot to it. Basically, you're going around and you learn the history of Shujinko, which, who is he? Who the fuck cares? You're Shujinko. You get to see him go from young to old. But through a series of challenges, fighting people, collecting items, you learn the whole history of him and you get this whole nother gaming experience. Honestly, you can spend multiple hours just dicking around with this. It really wasn't that well executed, and if that was a standalone, this would be really disappointing, but just the sheer fact they threw that in this game, holy shit, we had to applaud them for that. Other than that, though, there's not much else to say. There are more characters, and I'm sure I probably already said that already, so I'm being really repetitive. But it's everything we love with Mortal Kombat, and they decided to take a few added extra risks. So my score for the past couple games, it was a 10. It's going to stay a 10. Jim is always going to be a little nitpicky about things, so he only gave it a 9. But we both love it. I am not adding a beer. Holy shit. Good job, Mortal Kombat. And let me just flow right into the originality. Take all the points I just mentioned and really apply them here. Most fighting game series or game series in general that were coming out for the PS2 or Xbox in this generation really were just mostly updates with additional characters. Mortal Kombat, they went that extra route with adding those 2 new mini games, the Conquest mode, the Harakiri. They really set themselves up to be original. And while the core mechanics stayed the same this time, and we couldn't give it too many points there, we still recognize, shit man, there are some original ideas thrown here. So we gave it 7s. We felt that was fair. I don't even, once again, want to add a beer because I don't have anything negative to say. I don't even know what they could have added other than changing up the core mechanics, which we're glad they didn't because we really enjoyed the flow of the game at this point.
For playability. Oh man, does this game make you play through the game. As we said, I'm not crazy about the Conquest mode. I will give them credit. It was a bold direction to take, especially with a game like this. So, kudos to them, even if it didn't turn out exactly well. But, the Conquest mode has a lot of unique items in there and coins for the crypt. So, you know what, if you want everything in this game, you gotta play through it. Besides that, there's a ton of characters in this game. The crypt, once again, has a shitload of unlockables. Even though the crypt is a little bit smaller this time than it was in Deadly Alliance. All in all, there's a lot to do in this game, once again. We gave it 10s. There's just so much going on for playability-wise. As far as the beer meter goes, I'm going to add just 1 beer. And yes, it's sour grapes. I wish there was more in the crypt like there was last time.
Alright, so overall, no matter how you feel about Deadly Alliance, and like we've mentioned earlier, Jim and I both love that game, but this was just a clear improvement. Not only in the presentation, the graphics, and the sound and everything, but with the added things for gameplay, the added stage fatalities, even more replayability if that was even possible, so it was just a clear update. Now for me personally, this is one of the few Mortal Kombat games I would say is my favorite. So as you can see from the scores, I gave it a 10, Jim gave it an 8. I'm not really sure where his head was at when he was scoring this because to me this was a clearly better than Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. And it added all the things I really love about the series. And I know this probably won't make sense, but it's not the highest version of a 10 that I could give. I definitely felt it deserved the 10 because I go back to this game regularly, probably even more so than some of the other Mortal Kombats. But for Jim, he just felt like it was still on par with Deadly Alliance. Some people have that same sentiment, and some people may not like the story or this or that, or didn't care that they added the Conquest mode. For me, when I look at these type of games, I look at everything as a whole, so kudos to Mortal Kombat from me. When we combined all of our scores together, this rounds out to an 8.5. It is goddamn excellent, easily one of the best, if not the best fighters for the PS2 and Xbox, and yeah, shit man, we love it. As far as the beer pairing is concerned, I'm actually going to go with a cider, the Woodchuck Fall Harvest. This cider tastes exactly like apple pie, and who the hell doesn't like apple pie? It'll still get you drunk, but it's not the strongest, so you can easily blast through a 6-pack while having fun with this game. As always guys, thanks for checking out this video. We have plenty of other Mortal Kombat reviews already done this month, so be sure to check out our page. If you enjoyed it, give us a like, subscribe, or tell your friends about us. We're always trying to grow. Make sure you come back because we still got a few more games to go. As always, don't forget to drink your beers and play your game responsibly. Cheers, guys.